It is my honor and distinct privilege to announce the recipient of the 2017 Lundahl Finnie Lifetime Achievement Award by unanimous vote of the USGIF Board, Major General Robert Rosie Rosenberg, in recognition of his significant contribution, tenacity, and demonstrated high intellect.
I had a passion, and my passion was to continue helping those serving in uniform in harm's way in our land, naval, and air forces.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren O'Quinn, host of Trajectory on Location. We are honored to have a true American hero stop by our studio today. Major General Robert Rosenberg is this year's recipient of the USGIF Finnie Lundahl Lifetime Achievement Award, and we're thrilled to speak with him today. Major General, it's so good to have you. How are you?
I'm delighted to be here.
I'm happy to have you. Now, I got to start at the beginning. How did you find your way into this crazy industry?
Oh, well, I went to the United States Naval Academy, and 6 months before my graduation, I flunked my commissioning physical. The Navy said my eyesight had gotten so bad in 4 years, I was not qualified to be a line officer, authorized eventually for command at sea. Only a fifth-class citizen to be a supply officer. And in my day, supply officers were looked down on. And so, despite the Navy, there was no Air Force Academy in those days. Despite the Navy, I went to see the Air Force liaison officer at Annapolis, and I said, "Colonel, will you take me?" And he said, "Of course, young man." And I said, "But what do you do with me? You only fly airplanes, and the Navy says I'm blind." He didn't know he was a prophet. He said, "Son, I'm going to send you to missile school. Someday we will be in space." I graduated in June of 1957. Sputnik went up in October. The great race was on. Gary Powers got shot down in his U-2. President Eisenhower was forced to stop reconnaissance airplane overflights of the Soviet Union. We clearly had to know what was going on behind the Iron Curtain because of the real threat. And I got into the National Reconnaissance Program at its very beginning, working on Samos, Midas, and Corona satellites as a young second lieutenant. I was at Vandenberg for 4 years, and it was just, I never intended to make a career, but my wife, who was just a real committed patriot, even though I was never home, she agreed that I should stay on and serve my country. There was too much important stuff to be done.
Yeah, what a time. What a time.
Most of my career was either building, launching, and operating reconnaissance satellites or managing things, or being a big user like I was as the director of the Defense Mapping Agency, the predecessor of NGA.
Sounds like you joined at exactly the right time.
Yeah, it was a very serious time in our lives when 175 years of freedom that our founding fathers fought and died for were really very serious risk. You know, it wasn't Sputnik. It was what launched Sputnik. It was the first ICBM, far more capable than any ballistic missile we had. As a matter of fact, Khrushchev is quoted as having said, "If you don't get it, all we do is change the warhead from a satellite to a nuclear warhead."
Oh, wow.
So it was a very critical time in our lives.
Absolutely. Now, you just mentioned your wife, and you actually mentioned to me earlier that this week marks your 60th wedding anniversary. And you talked about what a patriot she was to this country. And of course, you have been as well. So what does it mean to you personally to receive an award in the name of two gentlemen so revered in this industry, Tom Finnie and Arthur Lundahl, two men who you actually came in contact with during your career, right?
I knew both of them in my career, and this is a very unexpected. I'm very humbled. It's a tremendous honor. What I did is dwarfed in comparison to what those two guys did for our country. And I really feel the reason Marge is here with me is I feel this is really her award as much as it is mine.
You did it together. That's so great. Any closing thoughts or advice to our viewers in the industry, Major General?
My advice to those in industry is the same advice that I always gave when I ran advisory boards for the government. And I ran a NEMA advisory board under Jim Clapper, under Jim King. Robert Cardillo says I've been trying to tell him how to do his job for a long time. But my advice to the government was stop just focusing on rules and regulations which are outdated and old and wrong, and get together with the commercial world. They are so far ahead of us. We've got to take advantage of what the commercial world is doing and make that part of the way we grow our national security organizations. And I was delighted with Robert's presentation this morning where that's his way.
That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's tremendous.
Well, it is absolutely an honor to meet you, Major General, and we appreciate your dedication to service and the patriotism that you've shown throughout your life. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you.